Hi, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good.
Thanks for willing to do this.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah, so I could just jump around before getting to Fire Emblem.
Cool, sounds good.
So the first thing I can ask is, do you have a special story of how you got into SAG?
Oh, how I got into SAG. Um, it's been a really long time. Um, I started acting when I was, I think, 7 or 8, and I'm pretty sure that the project that got me into SAG, although I could be wrong, would have been Joe Dirt. I was in that movie as a kid, and I'm pretty sure that that's the one that got me my SAG card. Yeah.
Well, I was curious because even I don't know if the timeline's right, but like your episode of Will and Grace was before that.
Yeah, so we actually filmed Joe Dirt first.
Oh,
It
okay.
took a long time to come out. But yeah, Will and Grace I shot after Joe Dirt, I believe. Yeah, yeah. So
I know a little bit after that would have been the Charlie Brown stuff that you did.
so my first ever voiceover was Stanley and then Charlie Brown, yeah. And Stanley was actually what kind of got me into the anime and video game universe because that's where I met Jessica Stone, and her mom got my mom and my sister and I all in with a studio that did anime, and so that's how we started doing that.
Was that also when you just started to get more affinity for voiceover opposed to on camera?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved both. I remember when I was younger, I would audition a lot on camera, and they would be like, "Hey, do you do voiceover?" Before I had started, and I'd be like, "No," and they're like, you have a voiceover voice," and I was like, "Okay." So we like talked to my agent, and I started going out for voiceover. And the more I started doing it, the more I just absolutely loved it because it's just fun to play a bunch of characters that either you might not get to play, or maybe you would start to age out of playing. And so I have always loved it. I love both, but I've always loved voiceover. Just, yeah.
Do you remember if it was pretty involved to become the voice, like the voice of Sally for the Charlie Brown stuff you did, or
So I remember the audition really well. It was just one audition, and then they did a callback, and then I booked it. But the crazy thing about doing Charlie Brown at that time was every 6 months they brought you in to voice match yourself because we were all kids. So they wanted to make sure like our voices weren't aging. So every 6 months we had to come in, do the same lines from the last project we had recorded, and see, and they would see if our voices had changed at all. And if they did, you got replaced. So it
oh,
was a crazy, very stressful gig to have to go in and be like, I sound exactly the same. I sound exactly the same. But it was a really, really fun experience getting to do what I did with that series.
were you also aware of what anime was at the time, like when you first started doing it?
Yeah, yeah, I was. I was. So I was really excited to start getting into it. And then just learning, my first couple of projects that I worked on, like I worked with some of the most amazing directors. And so they really taught me, because I was a kid, like they really taught me how to do dubbing and, matching lip flaps and like learning all the different reacts that I would have to do and stuff like that. So like I learned in the booth, and it was incredibly fun just to learn from some people who are just legends in the industry. So
That was Kamichu was your first.
so Melody of Oblivion was my first. I had one little character in one episode. And then ROD was my first, and Kamichi was my second after that, yeah, series.
And I don't probably didn't come until later on, but what do you think the darkest headspace you've had to go for anime and anime games is?
Ooh, oh, that's tough. Oh, I have a gardener. Can you hear that, or is it?
That's fine.
It's fine. I'm sorry. Normally they don't come today. Um, so probably the darkest headspace. I guess probably. Ooh, that's such a tough one. I think probably for Fully Cooley, and I think probably the most recent one that we did, the newer series. There were some really dark spots where Kana had to go, just kind of going through what she was going through in that series and those new episodes. And if people haven't watched it, I urge them to. I think it was a really great really great series. But there were some very dark points there that just, oh, they hurt, but they hurt so good. So, you know, it was an interesting and very fun project to work on.
Do you think in terms of your larger characters you played, do you relate the most to Kana, or is there somebody else?
I would say with Connor specifically, I definitely like relate to my teenage years with her because definitely like the growing up and being like, who am I? What do I, you know, what am I doing in life? What do I like? What do I not like? Like, what is being influenced by those around me? But with all my characters, I think there's like little parts that I can relate to or little things. But I wouldn't say that any of them in particular are like 100% me, right? Like I think like with Ringo from Soul Hackers too, like her dry humor is my dry humor. With like Kana, like her insecurities are my insecurities. Like, you know, with each little character, there's like one little piece of my personality that I could pull.
What are your thoughts about with how long you've been doing Ikitosen?
With how long I've been doing it,
Yeah.
I'm always surprised. I'm always surprised when they call up and there's like, there's more. I'm like, okay, because I've been doing that for gosh, years and years now. Yeah, I'm always surprised, but always happy.
Do you think you prefer working on more dramatic or comedic projects?
I love both drama and comedy. I have always like really loved getting to do comedic things though, like being able to find the funny in stuff that, especially things that like might not be comedic. Like I feel like Soul Hackers, I really got to utilize comedy in that. And it's not a super comedic game, but like I got to really like have fun and be funny and like really get to deliver things in a way that like just could make people laugh. And I mean I grew up doing so much like sketch comedy and that kind of stuff that that's always going to be something that I really love.
I think that's also what makes Sophia stand out in Persona
Yeah.
5.
Yeah. Yeah, she's so fun, so funny. Just like getting to deliver things without that like knowledge of how things are working and people being like, no, it's just the best. I had so much fun recording that.
Was that like a more special audition for Persona 5, or was that still pretty general?
No, that was so exciting. I can't remember the audition, but I remember my first session and when they told me what I had booked, and I was like, oh, are you kidding me? I was so excited to be joining the universe and just getting to like do that role was so fun. And then just having to work with like, you know, the certain points where it had to sound more, you know, Siri-esque and like really you know do that delivery that was so robotic was really fun, but like doing that and still having the balance of like but she's just a fun girl and she's just learning and she's very innocent and she doesn't really know everything that's going on. But that was just, yeah, I remember my first couple of sessions just being like, I cannot believe I get to do this. This is so exciting.
Were those like strange noises that she makes, were those just based off the Japanese performance, or is that a specific kind of direction?
It was based off the Japanese, so yeah, we kind of tried to emulate the same things that they were doing just to keep it consistent. But yeah, I love her little songs and her little sounds that she does.
Are you also comfortable hearing yourself in performances, like in
Yeah,
game?
I think it used to be weird, but now it's like it's fun to hear, especially as I've gotten to kind of use more of my range as I've gotten older and just gotten more opportunities to like play with it. It's nice to like hear like what I did in the booth and like how it actually came across, right? Because you know when you hear yourself, you never quite hear yourself the way that you actually sound to everybody else. So it's fun to be like, oh, I tried this new voice, and then actually hearing it in a game or a show and being like, oh yeah, that worked. That's really cool.
What do you think is the case where you've had to alter your voice the most?
Ooh, probably there's a couple of ones where I've had to go a little bit farther than I have in the past. But I think the most like challenging one for me recently would have been Dark Veil, so Fallen Veil, just because I never utilized that part of my range and had to be like evil. Um, so having to do that was like so much fun, but very, very new for me. I know I've done evil characters, but they were always like the cute young evil one that still sounded like you could squish them and be like, "Oh, you're so cute." So having to be like evil and actually be evil was a stretch. It was the first time that I got to do that. It was really fun.
Speaking of Fire Emblem, I know that Sue would have been the first,
Yeah, yeah. Sue was my first, I believe. Yeah.
and Fina wouldn't have been too long after that.
Yeah, yeah. I think it went Sue, Fina, and then Kiria. Yeah.
Who do you think you have the most affinity with between those three?
Ooh, that's hard. I love them all because I love them all for different reasons. Um, but ooh, I don't know. Sue's still like cool and calm. I like respect that. I wish I was cool and calm in situations where she's cool and calm.
Was were the other two just given to you then afterward?
I believe so. Yeah, I think I auditioned for my first heroes and I got it. And then I think the additional two I got called in and they're just like, we have another character for you. So,
What about the with the auditions for Engage?
oh yeah. So for those, they sent out a big email with a ton of characters, said, audition for what you feel right for. Um, and so I sent in a batch of auditions. And when I found out that I had gotten Veil, I was so excited because when I auditioned, I was like, this is a long shot. You've never done like, you know, a character that's that like actually evil before. So I was like, you might get it, you might not, you probably won't. So when I got the email saying that I did, I was like shocked and so excited. It was a very, very exciting day for me.
In terms of developing the voice, was it just completely your decision, or was there any basis off the Japanese?
Um, I would say we pretty much went mostly with what I had done in my audition. They gave really great direction for the audition, being like, this is kind of how, good Veil reads, this is kind of how dark Veil reads, and like these are the kind of personality traits. So we kind of went mostly with what I had done in the audition, which was great. And then just kind of getting into those voices, they helped a lot, just making sure that everything was hitting right, But I will say with Dark Veil, I always gave myself the little extra added physicality of getting my hood up and having my tea in my hand, just kind of giving myself that extra little posture of confidence to get me into that evil side of her.
What was it like being directed by Patrick for that?
Oh, it's the best. I've been directed by Patrick since Call Me Chew. That was I think the first project where he directed me, and he's just the best to work with. Like a great person, so like does what he does so incredibly well, and just like I have so much respect for him. He's one of my favorite directors to work with. Like it's just working with him is wonderful. You know exactly what he wants from you. He always helps to get you there. And it's like, it's just the best. He's fantastic.
What aspects of her do you think that you relate the most to then?
What aspects of what? Sorry.
Of Vale, do you think you relate the most to then?
Yeah. Oh, I think like Vale, I tend to over apologize for things. um, Granted, she did a lot of bad things, but I feel like Good Vale had a tendency to never let herself take people's acceptance of her apology. She just kind of kept going and going, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, which is a trait I definitely have. But also, I just think like just her fun, when she's good, her fun demeanor and just kind of like trying to make the best of things and just like treat people well. And, I think those are kind of the little aspects of her that I relate to. And also I love spicy food, so I relate to that.
What about her, like your favorite interactions that she has with other characters in the cast?
I'm sorry.
What about if you have other favorite interactions with other characters that she has in the cast?
Ooh. Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, there's so many interactions that I love. I remember specifically, I can't remember everything that happened in all the conversations because we spent days and days recording them. But I remember really loving her interactions with Mavir. So I remember really like after recording those being like, oh, I really loved those. Like I really love those scenes. And then yeah, there's a couple of other things I really love, but there's just so many conversations.
This is probably obvious too, but is it more fun for you to do Evil Veil?
They're both fun, but it is really, really fun specifically to do Evil Veil. There's just something about getting to tap into that side and just be mean for like, and it's not really pointed at anyone because you're just doing it to a mic. It's just it's fun to tap into that side and just I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's fun to play. It's always fun to play something that's so incredibly different from yourself, and then you hear it back, and you're like, "Ooh, who's that? That's interesting." But yeah, no, it's really really fun. It was such a fun experience to get to do an evil character finally, because it's been a long career, and so to get to do that and like like a truly evil character was extremely fun.
I'm sure there's more than one. Do you have a single favorite line for her too?
Oh, oh man. A single favorite line for Vale. Ooh, I can't remember. There's an evil line that I love of hers. Um, it's just like I love the way that it lands. It was so fun to record, and just I feel like it's the first time that I heard my voice and was like, "Oh my gosh, I can do that." But I can't remember what it is at the moment, and that's gonna kill me. But once I find it, I'll post it online or something.
Well, I would guess maybe I don't know if it's the same one you're thinking of, but when her evil version came out in Heroes recently, the one that like really surprised me was like, oh, did you kill the other version of Vale for me? Like that was so sweet of you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. When they put that line up, I was like, excuse me? I was like, okay, that's brutal. Okay, let's record it. That was a really good one. That was a really good one.
I'm sure maybe you've seen too how big the fan base response has been for your performance specifically.
Yeah, it's been so incredibly sweet. It was a really cool, really, really cool project to do, and just like such a milestone for me in my career, I feel. And so like the response from everyone and like the support and just like everything has been absolutely incredible. Like I do not take that for granted. Like it really makes me happy. It like really makes me joyful to see like how people have responded to it, because it's just really cool because I put so much hard work into it. So it's really nice to see that like people enjoyed it.
Is there something that you would like to see happen with her character?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, it's so hard, right? Because it's like, who are you rooting for? Because there's so many cool things that could happen on either side. I mean, for Goodvale, I want to see her, you know, finally get to like be at peace and just like live her life to the fullest. But for Evil Vale, it would be cool to explore her getting to like grow in her power and like see where that takes her. But yeah.
Is there one question that somebody had from the community was for all of the characters that you play in Fire Emblem, if there was a like seasonal alt that you'd like for one of them to have, like for a holiday or something?
Ooh, oh, that would be fun. Mm, let's see. I'd like to see like some Halloween stuff for somebody. I don't know. Or like a Valentine's Day. That would be cute. I just love when they get like different skins and stuff because I love seeing them. I think they're so fun. So anything that would give them like something absolutely crazy, I would love to see that.
Well, is there anything that you want to say to the community for Fire Emblem?
Oh, just y'all are the best and like just the support and love that you guys have given me in like all of my different projects in this area is just the sweetest and most wonderful thing. And I just love being able to like do these voices and do these games and like just hearing from you guys like how you like it or how fun it is to listen to or anything like that. Like it just makes my day because like that's why I do this. Like I love being able to like pour into the community and being able to like do this and bring life to these characters and I just appreciate you guys so much.
I don't know if you could come up with something, but how do you think Vale would react to like a fan base for her?
Oh my gosh, I think she would be so startled that there's a fan base and be I don't deserve that. You guys shouldn't do this for me. Like I was the worst. Like you should like somebody else. Like she would be so like no 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 no. I don't deserve this. Like give all your love to somebody else. I don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. That is exactly I think how she would feel. We just had the new Veil Fire Emblem Heroes release. And then before that, I think was Fooly Cooly. I'm waiting on a lot of things to drop. So we're in the era of recording and waiting at the moment. So, but yeah, but we had Fooly Cooly last year, which was fantastic. And then, yeah, I had a couple of things come out last year that were absolutely exciting and wonderful. And then, yeah, lots of things pending that I'm extremely excited about, but wish I could talk about, but can't.
Well, my final question is always asking, what do you want your legacy to be?
Ooh, oh, that's a great question. I mean, for me, I think like I just want my legacy to be that like I was a good person that people could depend on and that like I was always there for my friends and family and like just yeah, I think that's really the way I live my life is like I just want to help people, I want to be there for people and just like pour into the people I love and that's like at the end of the day that's like really all that matters to me is like just knowing that like the people I care about felt so cared for by me. Yeah.
So one thing that I do with uh, the Fire Emblem interviews is I have something in chat. I can put something in chat if you'd be willing to read it as Evil Veil.
Sure. If you don't have a cinnamon roll, you're of no use to me.
Thank you. Well, yeah, thanks. I'm glad that we got through this.
Yeah, me too. I'm sorry for all the technical difficulties. Wouldn't be a voice actor without those.
Great. I hope you have a good rest of your day then.
Thank you so much. You too.
Bye.
Bye.